to honor those women who have birthed us, raised us, and loved us. So I thought it would be interesting to take a look this morning at some of the lessons we can learn from some mothers in the Bible. Many are profiled or mentioned, but we'll focus really just on two this morning: Hannah, the mother of the prophet Samuel, and Mary, the mother of Jesus. In case we need a refresher on Hannah's story, it's found in 1 Samuel chapters 1 and 2. Hannah was married to Elkanah, but was unable to conceive for years. And this was a little problematic because Elkanah had another wife who had been able to birth several children, and you can imagine the competition and uncomfortable relationship that was there. So Hannah grieved for years, and so one time when she was at the temple, 1 Samuel 1, verses 10 through 11 tells us, in bitterness of soul, Hannah wept much and prayed to the Lord. And she made a vow saying, O Lord Almighty, if you will only look upon your servant's misery and remember me and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on its head. Her promise that no razor would ever be used on her son's head signified that she would dedicate him, if she bore a son, as a Nazirite, which meant setting him apart for service to God. She would give him up and give him back to God for God's service. Wow, what a sacrifice she was willing to make. Hannah became pregnant shortly after this and named her son Samuel, which means heard of God. True to her word, once he was weaned, she took him to the temple, and he grew up under the guidance of the priest Eli. He grew to be a great judge, prophet, and priest. 1 Samuel 3, 19 through 20 tells us, the Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and he let none of his words fall to the ground. And all of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, recognized that Samuel was attested as a prophet of the Lord. I trust we're all a bit more familiar with the story of Mary, a young woman betrothed to Joseph. She was visited by an angel of God who said in Luke 1, 30 through 32, but the angel said to her, do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will be with child and give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus. He will be great, and he will be called the Son of the Most High. Can you imagine, as maybe a teenager, maybe a little younger than that, getting that kind of a message? Wow. Mary then asked how that could be, since she was a virgin. After the angel explained, Mary said in Luke 1:38, I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said. We know the rest of the story. It wouldn't have been possible had she not submitted to God's will. So two women living a millennium apart each became mother to a son, born of extraordinary circumstances, and as was God's plan for their lives. So what can we learn from these two mothers? The first lesson is one of radical trust. Hannah and Mary each trusted God in a way that changed their futures dramatically. Hannah and Mary each would be allowed to conceive and become a mother. Hannah trusted God through her anguished prayer. She poured out her soul. She shows us that it's okay to be broken before God. But she asks for a son, not just to end her societal shame of being barren, but she also promised to give this son back for God's service. Mary believed the angel of God who appeared to her, and she trusted God with her life. For at that time, in her culture, an unwed pregnancy resulted in shame and possible death. Both women, in spite of great personal cost, moved to a place of divine surrender. Their stories teach us that God's plan often starts with our surrendering of our own plans. And by living into God's plan, we live a life we couldn't have imagined. The second lesson is one of gratitude. Hannah and Mary each responded to God's faithfulness with a prayer of thanksgiving. Hannah's prayer is in 1 Samuel 2, 1 through 10, and reads, "My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like God. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance, for the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who were hungry hunger no more. She who was barren has borne now 7 children. She had more children after Samuel. But she who has many sons pines away." Probably a little dig at the other wife who had all the children. "The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's, and upon them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his saints, but the wicked will be silenced in the darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be shattered. He will thunder against them from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of the anointed." Similarly, when Mary visited Elizabeth when they were both pregnant, she prayed what we now know as the Magnificat. "My soul glorifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for he has been mindful of the humble state of his servant. From now on, all nations will call me blessed, for the Mighty One has done great things for me. Holy is his name. His mercy extends to those who fear him from generation to generation. He has performed mighty deeds with his arm. He has scattered those who are proud in their inmost thoughts. He has brought down rulers from their thrones, but has lifted up the humble. He has filled the hungry with good things, but has sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel, remembering to be merciful to Abraham and his descendants forever, even as he said to our fathers." So both women had these prayers of thanksgiving. They were prayed a millennium apart, but they reflected very similar themes. They each sang about the mighty being broken, the hungry being filled, and the humble being lifted up. And while they were full of gratitude for God's faithfulness, they both realized that their miracles, their miracle babies, were not just private gifts to them, but miracles to be shared that would serve God's kingdom. The third lesson is the weight of letting go. It's a hard part of life, isn't it? Having to let go or releasing. Hannah weaned Samuel and then literally walked him to the temple to live with the priest Eli. She kept her vow that she made to God. She gave up the very thing she had wept and prayed for, giving him over to the service of God. Mary watched her son grow. She began to learn to let go when Jesus stayed behind at the temple in Jerusalem after the festival of Passover, rather than traveling home with the family. He reminded her when they found him that he must be about his Father's business. She learned to let go when she stood at the foot of the cross, watching the gift she was given being sacrificed to the world. Can you imagine? So what about us? What are we clinging to that we need to entrust to God? Are our greatest blessings ours to keep or ours to steward? Whether it's a child, a career, a dream, or some other blessing, if God gave it, we need to trust God to direct it and rejoice in the plan that God has for us. We're called to be faithful mentors, such as Priscilla and Aquila, who mentored Apollos, a leader in the early church. We're called to be spiritual mothers and fathers, such as Eunice and Lois, who Timothy credited with passing on their faith to him. We're called to be nurturers, such as the mother of Rufus, who was viewed as a mother to Paul, by Paul. We are also called to be always available to God to live out his plan. So on this Mother's Day, let us take courage from the example of these mothers, and especially from Hannah and Mary, who showed us the way with longing, love, and unwavering trust in God. I want to close with a reflection written by a clergy friend of mine. Hannah's prayer turns when she releases her son, not after he was born, but before. That is transformation, not controlling the outcome, but surrendering the outcome. This is the hardest movement in the spiritual life. We want to love by holding on. God teaches us to love by entrusting. And that is how we are changed, not by fixing others, but by becoming people who trust God with them. Thank you.